All right, thanks a lot. Thank you, Wilke. Thank you, Manuel and Christoph, for inviting me. Before I start my speech, I prepared a little prelude for that. Before I came to Popkomm, I asked 9 people what I should tell the guys from the music industry. I told them, listen, I'm going to go to Popkomm and I'm going to talk to the music business people, especially to the people who are in the digital music business. What shall I tell these guys? And the basic answer from the people was, Nils, tell these guys from the music industry just to go away. And I was shocked by that, and I said, hey, come on, you can't be serious. These are the guys from the music industry. They can help you to involve your business, and maybe you should get in touch with them. And these are the guys that can make you successful as an artist, and so on and so on. And then there was one woman who told me, you know, Nils, honestly, the guys from the music business, in my youth, they took away my pocket money and they built huge award shows on MTV with that money. They wasted my money. And then they told me, they claimed me to be a music pirate because I was sharing music with my friends on the internet. And the same woman, about 30 years of age, she told me, and today, they are giving me the same music for free on services as Zimfry, Last.fm and Tape TV, and today they want me to share it. And I was like, oh my God, that was the view from a consumer side, and me as a business professional, of course I know all the backgrounds, but she didn't. So that was my little prelude to that speech I prepared, and this is called Digital Development Aid for Analog Artists. So, Digital Development Aid for Analog Artists, or let's call it, can we make the music industry cool again? The reason why I got invited is this little book over here. It's called Bandologie, How to Lead Your Band to Success as a Musician. And this is selling really well. In fact, I built a publishing company based on that book. So this is the reason why I got invited. The musicians like this book. They really love it and appreciate it. Here are 30 seconds about my background. I was a marketing manager at BMG Berlin. And I was a rock drummer. So we had, with BMG, we had 8 #1 hits. We sold about 3 million records in 2003. And before that, and while I was doing that, I was playing rock drums. So I've got a double angle on the music industry. I experienced the music industry as a business professional and as a rock drummer. So that's basically my background. Why did the Bandologie book become such a great success? Here's what I did. First, I took a closer look at careers of several artists. And I had a look at real huge careers that were lasting long. So these were my 2 criteria. I only had a look at careers that were really huge and that lasted for a long time. So I didn't have a look at single hits and all that stuff. And then I extracted methods for artists or for musicians to follow. While I was writing the book, I was totally aware that there was no chance to make a list of, let's say, 10 points, and if you fulfill these 10 points, you will be a rock star. It just doesn't work that way. But I think we as an industry could give the artist some direction. At least that's what I did in the book, and the artists, they love it. I try to think of it as a movie director who gives the actor a kind of direction, and the direction helps the actor, well, to do his job a little better, or her job a little better. And that's what I did in the book, and that's why musicians love it. I think you've got a question in mind, and it could be, how can my findings help your business? Because that's what I'm here. I'm totally aware that most of you are business people and only some of you are musicians. Well, the first step of the answer is quite obvious. Music business only works with successful artists. The basis of our business are happy customers. And the counterpart to happy customers are successful musicians. At this stage, it doesn't really matter if there was a manager involved or not. That is at the basis. Happy customers and successful musicians. It doesn't matter how they became successful, but this is the basis. That's why we call it a business, a music business, and at the time it's still at a certain high level. So I think we can all agree on the following thesis: less annoying artists and more top sellers would be better for everyone. What is meant by annoying artists in this context? In this context, I mean artists who literally bang on everyone's door and who try to open doors that just don't open, and who basically annoy the audience. The customers don't want to listen to it, or at least they don't want to buy it, and most major labels or even indie labels tell these artists, we don't want to market you, and so on. So these, I named them annoying artists. And I think more top sellers, everyone would agree, that would be better for everyone, for the artist, for the consumer, and for the industry. The basic idea behind that would be to increase the percentage of artists who create marketable music. As you all know, there's only a very small percentage of artists who create marketable music. And let's say it's 1%, maybe we can help the market to make it a little more percent. Let's say maybe it could be 5% of all the artists that could sell on a bigger basis. Maybe not all of these stars, or maybe not all of these musicians will be stars, but some of them, maybe they could sell a little better. How to do that? The problem, in my opinion, is most artists don't know what's marketable. And that's why they annoy A&R managers, and that's why they upload, I called it trash in this context. They upload trash to several platforms, and they push your administrative costs. So as an example, there would be MySpace. MySpace at this time has millions of songs that are uploaded by musicians, but the business of MySpace is not going so well. So my suggestion would be, before we as an industry become a kind of, let's call it a trash administration, because there would be so many songs on the net that just don't sell. Before we become a trash administration, in my opinion, we should teach the artists what we know about the market, because we are the music industry, and who knows if not the music industry. How could this look like in practice? Well, the basic idea is to explain the artists your support criteria. What does it mean? That means if you're running a company, then potentially artists want to work with you. And the idea behind it would be to tell the artists what exactly they have to fulfill, or what they have to do to get your support, to work with your company. And I see this really rarely happening within the music industry, whether on labels and nor on other internet radio stations and so on. For example, this could affect your FAQs. Maybe you could add 10 points to your FAQs next week, and you could tell the artists, dear artists, if you like to work with us, you have to fulfill the following criteria. And maybe if these criteria might be high, for example, you could say, if you want to be on Simfy or on Tape TV or on Last.fm, maybe you have to be signed to a label. I'm just making that up now, but maybe you have to be signed to a label, and maybe you have to have an audience of a certain amount of people. Maybe the audience has, your fan base has to be about, let's say, 1,000 people or something like that, just to work with us. That would be the basis to make a decision. Whatever the criteria of your company might be, you could totally change them, but my suggestion would be to let the artists know. This could also affect the demo policies. I'm wondering a little about demo policies, and not only these days, but in the past too. Demo policies basically tell the artists, send us 3 demo songs and we'll take care of the rest, and we'll notice you or we will not, or whatever happens after the three demo songs. Well, I did an interview with an A&R manager from EMI, and he told me, he summarized how record deals are usually made. And I knew it before, he probably knew it before too, but most artists don't know that. Record deals are normally not done on the basis of a 3-track demo. And even the first contacts that later lead to a contract, potentially, even these first contracts are mostly not based on a 3-track demo. But the industry kind of works different, but you can't see it on the website, and you can't see it anywhere else, as an artist at least. Or it's really hard to find out. Usually you need years to find out these kind of information. You can't read that on, let's say, universalmusic.com or any other websites, or let it be the newer ones that I just mentioned. For example, as another example how you could teach artists what's happening, your top-selling artists could write a blog or create a video seminar. I experienced that at Amazon FBA. I'm selling my books on Amazon FBA, and these guys from Amazon, they tell me as a book publisher how to sell my books. And of course I'm listening to them because I'm making money from selling books. And so these guys try to help me to sell the books. Why are they doing that? It's quite obvious, because they want to sell more books and they want me to do the work. Well, but I'm earning more money on the books than they do. So the basic idea behind it is to bring in mentorship within the music business. That's actually a phrase that I borrowed from Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins. He's the lead singer of this band. They sold about 22 million albums worldwide. And he says, baseball teams are doing it and football teams are doing it. Why don't we do it? Why don't we bring in mentorship? The older players, the former very successful players, or let's say the older, formerly very successful musicians, could mentor the current artists and the upcoming artists, and maybe we could increase the whole music business by that. For example, you could tell the artists, the chances for success rise drastically if, for example, if the artist focuses on highly innovative lyrics, music, and attitude. And I was wondering yesterday, because I saw, at least yesterday, there was almost nobody talking about content. And I think the whole industry is driven by content, and I find this very important for business reasons. Because, for example, one could think of a special song made by artists for, let's say, Last.fm or Tape TV. Tape TV actually does a little bit of that, but one could think very, very much deeper into the content side of music, because the channeling is usually not what convinces people. What convinces people to like or love a musician is mostly lyrics, music, and attitude of the artist. And I think the industry could at least think into that direction. Of course, the industry can create the content, but I think a company could differentiate a lot just by having other different content or unique content. For example, one could tell the artist inspires, the chances for success rise drastically if the artist inspires people to live a new lifestyle. When I tell that to artists, these people, the artists, usually look at me like, wow, I never thought of that this way. That's a whole different level than just making music. But when you think of it, all the bigger rock stars or the bigger pop stars, they created a kind of new lifestyle, and even if they didn't do it for a whole generation like the people did in the 70s and in the 60s, 70s and 80s maybe, they are doing it for their core audience. But the approach is a little different than just making music. And this, in my opinion at least, could increase the chances for success of an artist drastically. And therefore, of course, the profits of the company who work with this artist could also rise drastically. For example, you could tell a band, bands sell only on the basis of great live performances, at least as a rule of thumb. I think nowadays we can say so. In the usual case, bands only sell on the basis of live performances. Of course, I know exceptions, and there are exceptions that sell online without live performances, but these are really rare exceptions, and the normal case would be this one. And if you tell this to an artist, let's say you're running a digital music distribution company, you could increase your profit by just telling the artist, hey, you have to play more gigs, and you will earn money by the gigs at first, but you will sell more downloads too. And by that, of course, you will make more profit. So I think this would be a good approach to go. As a rule of thumb, another example, if you don't sell offline, you won't sell online. At least nowadays, that's true for bands. I'm not talking about long tail and the view of the companies, but again, I think that successful artists are kind of a basis for this business. And maybe we should take care a little more about this basis. By the way, I'm wondering why there is, I think, no artist speaking here. Maybe there should be some artists at the next Popkomm. Plus your own criteria, as I just mentioned. Of course, you should make up your own criteria. Maybe you've got totally different findings about the market than I got. Maybe you should let them know your experience and what is working on the market in order to improve their business and your business as well. I think this would be a good approach, and I wanted to inspire you with that. Well, that was my little speech. Thank you. If you want to find out more about me, you can find my website at www.bandologie.com.